Hello.
Hello.
Is it Shrikant?
Yes, sir.
Shrikant, good evening. This is A.K. Saxena.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir.
You have mentioned in your desk that you will be having the interview in Marathi. Since we don't know Marathi, we'll either speak in Hindi or English. Will that be okay with you?
Yes, sir. I am very much comfortable with English. I have don't problem. I won't have any kind of problem.
And Hindi also? Hindi
Yes,
also will
sir.
suit.
I can. Yes, sir. No problem.
Okay. So you are from Maharashtra.
Yes, sir.
See, Maharashtra has always been in the news, but for all wrong reasons. We had murder mysteries, rapes, then drug mafia, and
Yes, sir.
so many things are there. And now the extortion racket. What is causing all this?
Uh, sir, sir, will you please pardon last question?
What are the causes of such evil practices in Mumbai, in Maharashtra?
Yes, sir. Sir, according to my knowledge, whatever the problems that you just mentioned, the basic causes is that some kind of rules are not to be followed during the appointments of the officers. The first cause is that. The second is some kind of political and administrative nexus is there that is till now the investigation is going on. That till now we can have a conclusion that this is the basic
Mhm.
cause of it. And in the third way, there is I would like to say that the politicization of the bureaucracy. These are some major causes behind whatever that we have the bad reasons, bad things that in happened in last 2 to 3 months.
These reasons are universal, they are applicable everywhere across the
Yes,
country,
sir.
in all states.
Yes, sir.
Are you aware of a committee called Vora Committee which submitted a report on this politicization of bureaucracy? Are you able to
Yes,
recall?
sir. Yes, sir. I am aware of the ORA committee in 1994. That the precisely mentioned that there is a nexus between the administrative and mafia culture, and it also gives some specific examples, but that examples is not in public right now. But it is a very eminent committee, and every every kind of reform in administration is mentioned in this committee.
So what happened to that report? So many years have gone by, 27 years. Nothing has happened to that report. It is lying in cold storage.
Uh,
Nobody has any access to it.
Sir, I'm partially agree with you. It is not that it is not happened or not doing anything about it, but there are some rules and regulations change uh, in their civil services rules. After that, the strict there is a strict provisions about the Prevention of Corruption Act and the enlargement of the definition of corruption that also
That's all
given to
okay.
the
That's all.
Administrative Reform Commission.
Yeah, that's all
Okay.
okay. But then why is the government so reluctant in releasing the report? Not only this government, current government, but successive governments from 94 onwards.
Uh,
And the annex to that report, which contains the names of all the defaulters, all the drug mafia dons,
yes, sir.
bureaucrats, that is not traceable. Everybody has seen it. Prime Minister, all Prime Ministers have seen it. All Home Ministers have seen it successively. But no, and that is the result. This is what we are seeing in Bombay today.
Yes, sir.
Hmm.
Sir, the
Okay.
basic reason,
Please go ahead.
okay. Sir, the basic reason about the why the Bodo committee recommendation is not implemented, it is the same that is the highlighted in that report. That is a nexus between them.
Hmm.
This system is some kind of supportive to each other, and even this support is maybe some kind of a political economy or some kind of a the popular some kind of vote bank politics. So this balance that they allow trying to maintain, and as so that such kind of this is not prominently targeted. They are through the Prevention Corruption Act and through the administrative reform, it is indirectly targeted. So I think there is the basic reason is itself in the given in that report that this some kind of nexus is emerged and it
Okay,
gives
okay.
support to the each other.
Okay, let us move on to the next question. You are a power engineer. You are
Yes,
an
sir.
electrical engineer, am I right?
Yes, sir.
Huh. There was a power breakdown recently in Mumbai and perhaps the whole of Maharashtra, was it? Due to some grid failure or
Uh,
recently?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. It does power failure at 8 November that happened in the morning of the around the 10 o'clock.
Hmm.
It is a according to my knowledge, whatever I gain or the whatever I read about it,
Hmm.
it is a simple the negligence that happened through the SLDC, that is the State Load Dispatch Center.
Asha.
There are the three. Would you like to me
Please,
elaborate on it?
please, quickly.
Okay, okay. Sir, as we consider the restructuring of the electricity in the Maharashtra, after 1991, the Mumbai considered as an island. It is an island. It has a generation capacity itself of the around the 1,700 megawatt, and the else is else 1,000 megawatt is imported from the three lines, and there is a
So it was
maintenance
due
on the
to,
two.
uh, to put it shortly, it was a grid failure due to overdraw of power. Am I right?
No, sir. It is not a overdraw of the power, but I would like to say that it is a there are two lines getting into maintenance, and as just the load increases in the daytime after 10 o'clock, the capacity of that line is ended, and because of that ended capacity, it was a failure. It is not
Okay.
it is maybe the overloading of line, but not a grid failure.
So no cyber attack by China as was reported in some newspaper.
Yes, sir.
I hope there was no attack by any other country. Cyber attack.
Uh, Sir, I'm not very sure about it, but this may be the condition because recently our CDS also claimed that China has that capacity to have a cyber attack on India. But in such kind of it is a very short time to give a conclusion about is it a cyber attack or not.
Okay. Are you able to recall a movement called hashtag #MeToo movement?
Yes, sir.
Has it died down or is it still?
Uh, Sir, looking at from the sociological point of view, the hashtag Me Too movement is we classified in the new forms of movement. That is a mostly based on the social media and exclamations of the exclamation of their the violence that can happen at the most of the time at the workplaces. uh, I will not say it's gone down or the slow down, but whenever such kind of explanation is motivated, some kind of motivation is needed, and that
Yes,
motivation
yes.
is during that time is available. It will goes down, but if some kind of motivation, again that movement will start
It
again.
will flare up again. Okay,
Yes,
thank
sir. It
you.
will flare up.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Sri.
Thank you very much.
Shrikant, please tell me about the budget. What are the main features of this new budget post-COVID? Can you hear me?
Madam,
Can you hear
yes,
me?
I can. Yes, I can hear you, but there is a very error or a noise is more.
Okay. Let me repeat the question and say whether you can hear me. I was
Yes.
asking about the main features of the budget this year post-COVID. What is the paradigm shift in the budget now? Pre-COVID and post-COVID. Can you highlight the features?
Yes, yes, madam. The pre-COVID we are more related to the manufacturing sector, and we are focuses on the production and the creation of the social equity through the jam and mobile integration. But after the post-COVID, the whole scenario is changes towards the health and education, and the building the basic structure of the health, so that we can fastly move through this the whole year slowdown, and we can have a better position in the economic point of view. So the most important feature about this, it is building the own building own health capacity. That is the most important, I think, is a shift from the old budget.
Do you agree with me when I say that India had the intent of being a social welfare state? Are we moving towards that or not? Is it a good step, or it is a right step in the right direction when we say that health of the people is very important to us now?
Yes, sir, definitely, madam. I agree with you, but I also agree with you. Just not the health. We have to. We also moving about the giving even the state is a welfare, that is a noticeable thing. But we have also moving towards the democratization of that welfare thing. We are entering with the more. We also entering with the private sector. We also
Just hold on. I would like you to explain this democratization. What do you mean by that? We are not democratic country.
No. I'm trying to say that.
Yeah,
I'm trying to say
explain.
that when we, as a state, we have a policy about the welfare state, but after this, we also have a different partners in that welfare nation. We have a private sector also. We have also public sector utilities also. We also have a different the non-government organization also. So I would like to put it into that in this welfare kind of thing, the welfare nation, that we are more and more the partners are there, so that we also.
That's a healthy sign, but this is not democratization. Your use of the word democratization is highly offensive because we are already a democratic country, right? The use of the word is totally wrong. You should have said that now we are more open. The horizon has broadened, where we are inviting partnership with public sector or private sector or the NGOs, right? To come and help us to build up the nation. So, be careful about use of your words, the right word at the right place only can be used. Now tell me, how do you see this budget as a big step towards containing pollution? Pollution is a big issue in India. So how does this budget go forward and help in containing? What are the ways and means, and what is the outlay for that?
Sir, ma'am, I'm not able to recollect the outlay for the containing the pollution, or I'm very sorry.
Leave that. But tell me how we are going to. What is the line of action? What is whether there is a particular allocation for pollution control or not?
I'm very sorry, ma'am. I'm not able to recollect it.
Okay, please. After the interview, go back and read the budget carefully, because health also, in the health outlay only, pollution also is a subject. Because if we make India pollution free, or we make major capital like Delhi and major metropolitan cities pollution free, or we can contain, the quality and the health of the citizens will also improve. So do read about that. Now please tell
Yes,
me what are the reforms suggested in the taxation sector. The income tax department, which comes under the finance ministry, is undergoing major changes. What are the major changes highlighted in this budget? And did it start now, or it was earlier also the process was started? Last budget also. Compare it.
sir, sorry, madam, I'm recollecting the 2 or 3 major reforms that it gained. The first is a faceless assessment that is already started, according to my knowledge. The second is
It started only.
the
It started
judge.
only. One moment. It started only now. Faceless assessment has come now. During phases of last year, we did do
Yes.
the small sectors of appeal and appellate matters. Right.
Okay. The second most important is universally notices, that the notices should the notices with the certain identification number, so that the harassment of the taxpayer should not be there by sending the notices. Uh, and I'm I'm done.
When you, yeah, I agree with you. Tell me one more thing. How does how do you rate the harassment? In any case, with a population of more than 135 crores, where only 5 to 6 crore people are paying taxes, they are harassed otherwise also, because the rest of the India is parasite on them. How do you react to this? The rest of the India is parasite. Only 5 crore, 6 crore, 7 crore people pay taxes. The rest of the India is just thriving on the taxpayers' money. How do you? How? Because taxpayers will feel harassed because the money is going out of their pocket. How do you react to this? Just give me your natural reaction.
I will not say that the other people are the parasite of the taxpayer, because I had one conviction that even the taxpayer are paying the money. There is some sort of such sort of work or the resource that is used. That resource is used by those people so that they can create that wealth. And it's as the person has its moral responsibility, so that he also takes the some part of that wealth or that will get created to the society, so that it's the state is nothing but that one of the one agent that is creating giving them an opportunity to serve the other society. So that I think it's not
How
considered as
long?
a parasite.
How, till we bring more people into the tax bracket, if taxation is seen as a harassment, till more people participate as taxpayers, then the burden on a small chunk of taxpayers will reduce. We can reduce
Definitely.
further the rate of taxation.
Yes, ma'am.
So that's why I'm calling them parasite, because nobody is coming to pay. Nobody is ready to share the burden of the nation towards development. Development will only happen when taxes are collected. So there's only one department which generates revenue. The rest of the departments, they only spend, right? So
Yes.
you have to, this is a thankless job. Whatever is taken from your pocket is your harassment, right? So use of harassment word, I think it needs to be seen in the better perspective. These are very harsh words, when you say harassment of the taxpayer. The taxpayer is harassed because the burden on the taxpayer is so high. The expectation from the taxpayer is so high that you run the country, you give me money to run this country, right? So don't you think, as a good citizen, more people should come out and pay taxes? Why agriculture should not be taxed? What are your suggestions to remove the anomaly, or at least to reduce it? And also, why agriculture should not be taxed? agriculture sector, the big agriculturists should not be taxed. What is the nexus? Why it has not been brought into the tax bracket?
I would like to answer the first question, that how.
I'm asking you this because Maharashtra has very big agro people. You know, they have so much money and they are not paying taxes. They are exempt because they come under the category of agriculture. So how do you justify that a major chunk of very wealthy people who are so-called agriculturists will not pay, and they will not be brought into that tax structure to pay?
It's my
Reply.
conviction, madam, that
Yeah.
it's my conviction that even the agriculture having the large having more income through the agriculture, they must be taxed, because the why it is not taxed, that's the major reason is the income of agriculture, income from the agriculture is not able to calculate till now. It can be calculated, but there is.
One moment. If the income of a businessman, which is so complicated, say it's a manufacturing unit and manufactures 2,000 items, nut bolts, if that can be quantified, why income from agriculture cannot be quantified? It is a very, it is not a proper answer. It is very simple. Seeds kharida, cultivation kiya, tools use kiye, जो उगाया उससे उसको sell किया. So it is as simple as that. This is not the right answer. Come out with a better convincing answer. It can be quantified.
Yes,
Only where the answer is there is no political will to convert agriculture income to bring that into the taxation bracket. Because most of the people who are not paying taxes are mostly because they go and say that I have a farmhouse, it is not taxable, you know, all that kind of nexus. The will to implement taxation structure and to bring agriculture under the tax net. There's a strong lobby of politicians who are agriculturists, especially in Maharashtra. Let me name few. You know them. They have such big income from sugarcane. The yield in Maharashtra is much higher than any other place, and still they don't pay taxes because they have managed not to bring agriculture under the tax net. That would be the answer. That's it.
Thank you.
Yeah, hello, Shrikant.
Yes, ma'am.
So can you just tell me what is Marx's view on social stratification? Marxist view on social stratification.
Okay. The Marxist view of social stratifications is that the whole society, it has a two stratas. The one is the capitalist and the second is bourgeois. The capitalists have the hold on the modes of production and the process of production, and the bourgeois.
Okay, I got it. Who has made critique to Marxism in terms of social stratification?
Madam, I'm not able to hear you. Please.
I'm asking. You have very well said that according to Marxism, society is divided into two classes. So, who has made critique to Marxist concept of social stratification?
Yes, the major critique was done by the Weber. According to him,
which approach he has used? Yeah.
Interactionist approach used, but he also used the classification of the class classification in the society in the times of the life chances and the situation, the market situation. That so is more the best.
What is the particular name? Be precise. Give me your answer very briefly, okay? So what is that approach which he has used? And what is the approach which was used by? No, it's multidimensional approach. So basic difference, what is the basic difference? Yeah, it's a multidimensional approach. So what Weber is saying that, you know, there is not only society is not divided into two classes, but rather there are many more classes. So power structure, right? What is the power structure according to Marx? Who holds power?
the capitalist source power, the who
And
have
what
the
is
control of the mode of production.
okay? And according to Weber, who holds power?
According to the Weber, the power is owned by the both the uh,
Both.
the power. The status is a status power T. The political power, the status, just like a caste, they also owes the power. They also shares the power based
Yes.
over their
Sometimes,
status in the society.
yeah. Sometimes, one who wins Olympiad games, sometimes they can also bring wealth and also power. So sometimes it's also talent, and sometimes it's just not that only whosoever holds the mode of production they can have the power structure, but
Yes.
otherwise also. Okay, so what is the difference between social differentiation and social inequality?
Yes, social inequality is basically defined as a unequal access to the resources, the social resources. It can be
Social resources
maybe
also.
the yes,
It can
the
be economic
the
resources also.
I'm not able
And
to
what
hear
is
you now.
okay, what is social differentiation by Dipankar Gupta? He's a famous
Uh,
sociologist, contemporary sociologist.
yes, sir, ma'am, I'm not able to exact know the argument of the Sir Dipankar Gupta, but I will say that
The dif
the social
Yeah, continue.
I will say that the social differentiation is a horizontal differentiation, that not always the stratification, that is not above one other. It can be a parallel. So I think this is the major difference between the inequality and
The correct answer, Shrikant, would be that in social inequality, there is an ideology of, inferiority or superiority is attached. While in social differentiation, we can be different. I, as a female, might be
yes,
different from a male. So differentiation, so the missing of ideology of superiority and inferiority. Right, so this is the basic difference which you need to understand when we are articulating differentiation and inequality or social stratification. Okay, one more question I want to ask you. What is the difference of social stratification in terms of racism and casteism? What is the unique feature of casteism in India when we are talking about social stratification?
the unique feature of the casteism when we talk about the
In
stratification is about the purity and pollution. The purity and pollution. The when we go to the racism, it is based on your the physical features and the color of your skin.
the social stratification in India, which is related to caste system, it's so unique. It is not even, it is not there in any part of world. When we are talking about stratification, it's not only because of the purity or impurity notion, but it is because of the fact that caste or within that caste system rule, whosoever is at the bottom, the untouchable or those with wrath, they accept their
They accept
unprivileged
in
position. So there
yes,
is harmony in that. So if
yes,
SC is there, so SC does not have any problem by saying that okay, he is from untouchable category. So he accept
yes,
that subjugation. He accept that
yes,
operation. Whereas in racism, there is no acceptance, right? There is no acceptance. In racism, nobody says, I mean, see why caste system is still so relevant even in today's time. It's just because this is the way caste system or Indians are being projected, because here so much of harmony was there. Do you know the harmonic system of stratification by Andrew Patel, who has talked about social harmonic system of stratification? What is the argument he is
uh,
making?
uh, madam, I'm not aware of the harmonic system of the certification, but Andre Betel is the basic argument of the certification, that the certification based on the caste, class, and power. The
Mhm.
power is also plays an important role, and it is not always the higher caste have the higher power. It can be due to the some due to the constitutional remedies that we have provided in the society, that the class one having a power, not necessarily he have a better status. so that there is an intermingling, circling between the caste, class, and power. Andre Batel's basic argument lies in this.
That's correct. That's correct. So in harmonism of stratification, what it's that when written friendship, people accept it, there is a harmony, there is no chaos. People accept their position. And this harmonic system of stratification, where scripture is saying something that, for instance, Islam is saying that there is so much of equality and brotherhood and, like, among the followers, and there is no stratification system. The only criteria to judge a person who is at bottom or a high, it's deed. But in practicing, it's something else. So now there is a chaos, right?
Yes.
Okay. So what do you understand? One last question. What do you think about Emile Durkheim functionalist approach?
According to my knowledge, that Emile Durkheim is one of the most important sociologists in the development of the sociology. His functional approach is based upon the social fact. He considered that the social fact, any kind of a social fact, is external, and the participant in that social fact are the passively responding to the that external pressure. And this kind of sociology must be developed to understand the society better way, and to the rules of the sociology can be found, so that the development of sociology can be done.
All right. Thank you. Thank you, Shrikant. Good.
Thank you. Thank you.
Hello, Srikant.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about Thane. Why Thane is famous for?
Sir, Thane is one of the major city that is established on the creek of the Vasai, and it is also known as near the Thane. It is the Thane Creek. The Thane Creek in the ancient time, it is one of the important ports, and the fisheries business is most important. Uh, uh, After extension of Mumbai towards the Thane is also became the important part of the industrialization. The chemical industries are the most prominent in the Thane district.
Is it also called a lake?
Yes, sir. I'm not able to hear you, sir.
Is it also known as a lake city?
Yes, sir. Thane is also famous as a lake city. That the 7 most important lakes are there. The major is the Talao Padi, and Masunda Talav is one of the most famous lakes in there.
Okay. Tell me about the farmers' society. Has it stopped? Because the report coming from Maharashtra.
Sir, I'm very sorry. I'm not able to hear you properly.
Okay, 1 minute. Hello, Srikant, am I audible to you now?
Sir, yes, sir. You are audible, but there is some break in your voice.
Okay, might be internet issues. Wait,
Yes.
what? Hold a minute. Okay, audible now?
Yes, sir. I will try to answer you.
Okay, the current status of farmer society in Maharashtra, has it stopped or what?
Sir, I'm really not able to hear you right now.
Okay, now are you able to hear me?
Yes, 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 yes. Sir.
Okay, tell me the current status of farmer society in Maharashtra. Has it stopped,
Yes,
or has government, stopped collecting data on the farmer society?
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sir, the farmer suicide in the Maharashtra is a really serious issue in the Vidarbha region, and some kind of suicides are also present in the Marathwada region. The basic reason behind it found sociologically that there it is considered as some imitation problem of the green revolution, that even the Vidarbha region is not suitable for the soybean cultivation. Soybean and cotton cultivation is better, but the kind of more investment is due to the imitation of the strategies of the green revolution about the high yielding variety of the seeds. After that, the pesticides, such kind. This is a basic reason that the investment in the agriculture has grown more. The second thing is the some kind of social security problem is also present in the Vidarbha region. The wealth created through the agriculture is not up to the mark. The third is the social security uh, given by the state, in the form of MSP, is not implemented very rigorously in this region. So that these are the culmination of the various factors that I just said.
Are you aware about the current status data? How many farmers are taking suicide every day?
I cannot take every day, but in last 5 years, it was 8,700 farmer suicide.
Okay, tell me how the state and center relation is changing in the COVID, in relation, context of Maharashtra.
As the COVID arises, the situation is like this. The most of the information and the research information and think tank available with the central government, and in through the Epidemic Act 1897 Epidemic Act, and then NDMA, that is National Disaster Management Act in 2005. The central government take the whole control of the how to handle the COVID situation in the whole Maharashtra, in the whole country. At the same time, the announcement of the lockdown to flatten the curve of the cases and the improvement of the services, the states face some the problem, because they have a crunch of the resources, like money, think tank, and in case of the PPE kits too. So that there is some kind of a tension between the state and the center, that the state is trying to micromanaging everything. So that created the issue about the who should handle what region. If the policy is handled by the central, the implementation must be handled by the state. Such kind of tussle had between the states and centers.
Okay. Do you think that the interstate meeting would have been better for the states, center-state relationship, and better cooperation and coordination between the state and center among the state as well?
Sir, will you please pardon the question?
Do you think that interstate council may have a better for better coordination and cooperation between center and among the center, among centers, among the states?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm definitely agree with you. How the interstate council is work is the clusters of the state. For example, if you consider the Maharashtra, Gujarat, Madhya Pradesh, and Goa, the Goa is treating Goa has a very less patient load in the earlier months, the 1 year ago. But Goa had the policy that unless and until you have a RT-PCR negative test, you will not able to enter into Goa. Such kind of problem that created the migration through the migration, and that the problem happened. The interstate council has a right forum that to decide the policy for that region, and the better serve the migrating people. After that, the resources agglomeration that can be
Okay.
betterly managed.
What is salient? What are the salient features of new education policy?
The salient feature, I would like to tell you the four most important features. this is the new education policy is creating the one universal structure in the whole nation through some setting up the new organizational setup, like a new credit agency, new testing agency too. The second most important is the structural changes in the education that we are moving forward to new structure about the entering into the pedagogy of the early childhood care. The third is it also created the integral structure for the whole disciplines about the medical that the higher education authority that has to be formed. The fourth is most important, that it take consideration of the today's education needs about the intelligence and the state of the art education that needed to the today's youth. I think that these are the most important features of the
Okay.
new education policy.
Now I'm talking to an Naib Tehsildar, right? Would it be different when you'll become an IS?
Sir, I'm not able to hear your first part of the question.
Actually, currently you are working as a Naib Tehsildar, am I right?
Yes, sir.
How would it make a difference when you will become an IS?
Sir, I would like to answer it in two ways. That the first of all, when I became an IAS, uh, uh, I have that experience of the ground level. As a Naib Tahsildar is the first line of officer. The what happened in the ground, and that must be reflected in my work. So that the difference is that I will have that ground experience, very long experience, and especially about the working with the class C and D. C and D. That these are the backbone of our whole government structure. And the second is that the due to if I have the opportunity to serve the whatever the interest that I have mentioned, that I think that even though I am an INS and I'm not maybe the collector of the district, even though I can have that experience and my interest, so that I can perform it better way in there.
Okay, done.
Thank you, Sri. Hello, are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Your interview is over. Now comes the feedback session. Whatever suggestions we have got, we will give you the suggestions. When is your interview?
Sir, my interview is on 4th May, morning session.
4th May, okay. And this is your 8th attempt.
Yes, sir.
You have got still one more attempt to go.
Yes, sir.
You are a married person and you are already
Yes,
in
sir.
job as a Naib
Yes, sir.
Tahsildar. How do you balance your work and family life and then appearing for the IAS? This is one question which they might ask you. You've
Yes,
got
sir.
so many responsibilities. How do you manage to go there? And this is for the first time that you have been called for interview.
Yes, sir.
So don't worry, everything will be okay. But at one stage you used the expression, I definitely agree with you. Are you able to recall? Hello?
No, sir.
You used the expression while responding to Mr. Jha that I definitely agree with you. Please see the video and then you use this expression, I definitely agree with you. Please, you have no business to agree or disagree with the board. Leave it to the board to agree or disagree with you. If you are not on the same page, then say, sir, I am sorry, please permit me to have my view. Politely.
Yes, sir.
Don't enter into any argument. And read, as a Marathi Manos, you read something about the corruption that is rampant in Mumbai, BMC, police force, and then that you must read what are the causes and all that. There will be a lot of questions on recent developments. Huh? And the Vidarbha drought, you have already answered, but read more. What action is being taken by the present regime in alleviating the suffering of the farmers? Okay. Otherwise, everything is okay, and keep yourself, your morale should be high. Don't get demotivated. Okay, you are bound to make it.
Yes, sir.
Madam.
Shrikant, please ask me questions. I would like to clarify on whatever questions you can ask me. You can ask me questions, whatever are your doubts, and there are many, because the subject can be anything for the interview. But I want, you would be having some questions where you feel that your answers are not appropriate. I can assist you there. So please ask me questions which you feel that you are not confident enough to answer. I can assist you there. Any doubts, any clarification you want, please.
No,
Go ahead.
I just that was my when I was talking to you, I know that I need to refurbish my budget issues.
Right.
Budget I will.
Because
that is the
budget
only
is a very important aspect of the country's development. We make a plan and then we get into action to achieve what is highlighted. Well, first we hypothecate that this is what we want to do. That's a vision statement, and then we implement that throughout the year and see at the end of the day whether we are able to achieve this. And if we are not able to achieve it, we review things where we have gone wrong. So budget is a very important aspect. I, being from a finance background, who has served in the finance department, so I would rather say that please do study the budget thoroughly, because this budget is totally different from any other budget which we had earlier, right?
Yes, that's fine.
Any other question
Thank
if you feel that you are not confident enough, or you want me to, any question about your personal thing also, that I have already worked for so many years and at a mature age I'm going to become a civil servant in a higher position. All this, whatever you want to ask, feel free to ask.
Sometimes I feel that this is my 8th attempt. Will be that the backfired me about
No,
my.
no. The number of attempts you have already taken, or this is your 8th attempt, doesn't matter to the board. How you perform during your interview, that is the crux. So don't take this burden on your mind that because this is my 8th attempt, they will ask me why, that will go against you. No, I would rather say that be positive and think that you still have the courage and the conviction and the mindset to write the exam for the 8th time. So it's not easy. I wouldn't have done that. But you have the courage, you have the conviction, you have the passion to do that. That is all good enough, and these are positive indications that you don't give up easily. You can just rest assured and go with confidence that I have not given up on my dreams. It may take, Edison took 999 attempts to make the electric bulb. He did not give up, so it's okay. Right?
Correct, ma'am.
All attempts, all failures are the learning steps. All failures, all adverse situations are learning steps. What we learn during failure is much more valuable. You will realize later in life that when we fail, that is the best lesson we learn for life. So it's okay. If you still have the passion to become a better officer or go in a higher position, it's all right. You are already into services and you are trying for something better. Nothing will go against you. Go with this mindset, right? Any other thing you have, any apprehension you have in your mind, I would like to clarify that.
No, I just want to just appreciation is that's not that way, but I just want to some read more. That I think.
Yes. You have to read the budget thoroughly. You have to read all the new government schemes thoroughly, because they will expect you to know all this. The times have changed, the government has changed, and they are doing So many new schemes have been introduced. We are trying to turn around. We want to be the game changer. India wants to become a superpower. So all this through these new schemes. Our thought process has changed. There's a paradigm shift, the way we think, the way we see India, the way we perceive our country, and the way the others are perceiving India. All this is important. So you go with a positive mind. You are already in a job, and I really admire you that you are married and still, you are trying to do something better. This is encouraging, and this is heartwarming for us also. All the best to you. If you still have time, read the editorials of Hindu, the Economic Times. The better newspapers would give you a better insight, because all editorials are a critical analysis of the factual details which are in the public domain, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Fine.
Are you happy, or you want anything further to is bothering you? Nothing, no? Go with
No,
confidence
no.
and do your best.
Yes, ma'am.
All the best.
Thank you.
Okay,
Right.
Srikanth. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, all the
Thank
best.
you. Thank you.
Yes, yes.